Now, our last presenter are two deaf individuals, George GLintag, one of the deaf researchers who joined that training back then in the projects that I talked about earlier, together with Carolyn Dagani, who's the president of the Philippine Federation of the Deaf. So they will be talking about policies and the law.
The topic I'm going to present today is about the language and culture for deaf education in our community. We have been labeled as very sensitive, like hearing impaired and all that, because our ears are even broken, things like that. So that's our identity. Some people believe that what is deaf? Some people call us as mute. What is mute? Like if you're watching a television, if you don't want to have any noise, you press the mute button so that you will not hear anything. But deaf people, we are not mute. We have voices. And some people call us deaf and dumb. We have been labeled as deaf and dumb. That's the mentality. But deaf people are also intelligent. We can be independent. So those are the misconceptions about deaf people. Those are the wrong perceptions about us. Okay, now let me explain to you about deaf, D-E-A-F. That's the word that we use. We have rights. Remember the importance of the capitalized letter D. It means that we are a group of people that we have our own culture, which is also different from others. And according to UN and WFD, World Federation of the Deaf, we attended that convention joined by 160 countries. Deaf people are really not sensitive. We are not easily hurt or insulted. True, indeed, deaf people, we have our own culture. We have our own personal life. We have beautiful life. We have our own gestural movements and all that. We have our own language, which is sign language. And although they may vary, we use facial expressions. Some people tease us with the way we use our language. But that's how we express ourselves. And remember, we have our own language, and other deaf people may also use their own sign language. So we would like to emphasize in the Philippines, we have laws, and we have the Magna Carta, which was established in 1992. It includes the deaf people and other PWDs, or persons with disabilities, about our benefits, that we can be employed, and it also includes equality. In 1992, special education for children who are using sign language. At present, the UNCRPD has international law. In 2008, it has been approved, and it's a treaty. About the freedom of expression and accessibility in sign language interpreting. So deaf people can express themselves by the use of FSL. We should not be forced to use oral or signing exact English, oralism or signing exact English. We use FSL because that is our natural or our mother tongue. Since we have been born, that's what we were taught, so that is our access to language. And sign language is actually visually oriented. In Article 30, it is also included there about the variations of expression, of freedom of expressions. Like if you want to watch a movie, there should be an inset or closed captions and all that, but we have been experiencing a lot of barriers in our lives. So those are just examples of them. Another important thing is for education, SDG 4, ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. We must not be separated, but we must be mainstream or included from preschool to elementary to high school to college. We can be, we must have equality with the other hearing counterparts by the use of our sign language. We want you to remember that FSL, there's been a law that has been passed already. It's RA 10410, the early years law. It is an accessible environment for children with disabilities and advocate respect for cultural and linguistic diversity, including the use of Filipino Sign Language as the visual language of the deaf community. So since we were young, sign language has become our mother tongue, and when we have been enrolled in school, we also use sign language. We use total communication for our understanding. But it's not a natural language actually. So next, number 2, RA 10533, which is the K-12 law. It's our mother language or first language. Refers to language or languages first learned by a child which he or she identifies with. It is identified as a native language user or by others which he or she knows best or uses most. For counseling, for education and other stuff, it's mostly to strengthen the Filipino deaf community. Here in the Philippines, we have in different regions, they have their own language in different areas. Example, in Cebu, in Iloilo, Bohol, and other provinces. Yes, they do have their own languages and which are beautiful and they are strong in those languages. Probably you may not have heard of it, but we have our own. You have probably noticed FSL. Okay, the Filipino deaf use FSL in education, which is our official language. In Anthropology, probably they have observed that they should create a new law. So they have probably asked deaf people, and to deaf people, everything's just very much the same, so they worry about it. So we've been trying to advocate and advertise and discuss with other people to Congress. We've been discussing with them, and some congressmen have already accepted our proposals, and they have created this House bill, and deaf people have been promoting, advocating for it, even marching for it, and all that. And the third, it has reached up to third reading in Congress already. Now there's another senator. There's now a Senate version of this, and we're hoping it will be passed into law eventually. Okay, Filipino Sign Language in Education, medium of instruction and curriculum. Basic education, and RA 410 for early interventions. So for education, the teaching form must match the student, the child. So we must be able to employ deaf teachers because they know, they can identify with each other. They know their hearts, they know what is enough for them, they know their complaints until they graduate to college. So it's best that we employ deaf teachers in educating deaf students, so for their future education also in college, to prepare them for college. So we will need to create more training programs to expose the deaf people for their continued learning. FSL and teacher training programs for deaf education. Next, Filipino Sign Language in justice system. There's a lot of proceedings in court cases, but there's no rights. Deaf people have no accessibility to it. Like in interviews, if they will file a case and things like that, we really need interpreters in court cases. We need access to interpreting in court cases. Like some people who are not expert or adept in sign language, there will be miscommunications along the way. So we really need somebody who is expert in FSL, and as well as definitely interpreter in a court hearing, so that if a hearing interpreter could not understand the deaf client, then there's a deaf interpreter who would relay the messages to the hearing interpreter. So that's what you call really interpreting. So we have already proposed that to the administrator in the board, and I hope they have accepted it already also. Filipino Sign Language in public health system. There's a lot of problems that deaf people encounter, especially in medical field, in communicating with doctors and medical professionals, because there's a lot of miscommunications going on, because those medical personnel do not know sign language. So it really concerns about their health, about their life, if they need advice and counseling, like for reproductive health and other things that they need, about mental health and things like that. So understanding between two clients, between the client and the medical personnel, is really essential. And lastly, Filipino Sign Language in mass media. A lot of deaf people, when they watch news, for hearing people it's so easy because you can just easily listen. But for deaf people, they cannot, they do not have access. We do not have access to mass media. Like if you want to watch news, there are no insets and other programs also. So you need to, hearing people need to understand that we also need accessibility to mass media. Lastly, Filipino Sign Language in interpreting system. Okay, for those people, hearing people who would like to apply as an interpreter, they should be categorized and evaluated to what level or degree their skills are. And if they still need training in all that, so it's really important. Okay, in summary, please remember, what is FSL? Oh, it's about, if you're just probably thinking about oral communication. No, but FSL is the language of the deaf community for that they can use for education, for access to transportation, to mass media, to hearing in court cases, and other field that we need access to. Thank you very much, and good afternoon.